All right, folks, Dan Bidondi here for the Dan Bidondi Show on 990WBOB.com. We got a great show for you today, and since we're into the midst of Halloween, known as Samhain, coming up here at the end of the month, right here in October, and we figured we'd take a break from the politics for a bit and bring you a little haunted stuff, and something cool that goes with the season. Speaking of that, and people who are interested in the occult and just want to know the truth also about, even Christians out there want to know the truth about these holidays. Well, we got a great guest coming up. He's a former Illuminati member, and yes, a real Illuminati. Not, this ain't make-believe stuff. This is real stuff. He's a former member of the Illuminati, and he's also a former high Satanic priest. He's been around the block a lot with the occult world, and now he's Judeo-Christian. He's got a great ministry. It's called withOneAccord.org. William or Bill Schnoebelen. He's known as William Schnoebelen, one of the top whistleblowers for exposing things within the Illuminati, the occult world. A former Freemason, a former Catholic priest, a former Mormon priest. I mean, this guy's, most of his life he was involved in this stuff since he could remember. And he came out of the stuff. God plucked him out of the garbage, basically, and now he exposes the stuff from within. And with One Accord, that's with One Accord, spell it out, WITHONEACCORD.org. Again, William Schnoebelen. You can look him up on YouTube. He's all over the place, and many years of serving. Good, now he's been doing, out of the occult and everything else. And so we got an interesting story. So he's going to be joining us within the next couple minutes, probably toward the break. And we got to just expose Halloween for what it really is. It's a lot more than just kids dressing up, more than where it originated from. And still today in a lot of Celtic countries and everything else. It's a 3-day festival. It's called Samhain, spelled out like Samhain, Samhain. It's a 3-day festival. It goes with so-called All Saints Day, which is not. It's a 3-day festival, and that's why they call it Hell Night, Halloween, and All Saints Day. It's all connected, all mixed with the whole Illuminati thing here. And, I mean, it goes further than that. I mean, it goes back thousands of years of rituals that take place. A lot of horrifying stuff, children, sacrifice, everything. And we're going to get into that. And before we do that, I want to just talk about real quick here, so we're going to take a break from politics, but I just want people to know we need Rhode Islanders, we need to vote Gina Raimondo out, current governor. She's vowed to take our Second Amendment, folks. She's very bad. Speaking of Halloween, this woman doesn't need a mask, and I'm being very nice about that. We got Alan Fung, former mayor of Cranston here, great candidate. Another great candidate is Joseph Trillo, former state rep. And Ann Armstrong, and another person, I forget the person's name, is independent. But you got your choice, basically, of some great candidates other than Gina Raimondo. And also, I'm going to bring you the quote of the week, which relates to this. And it's sponsored by Rhode Island Shotokan Karate, teaching self-defense, discipline, anti-bullying, anti-domestic abuse and discrimination. They teach all that stuff, Kempo, Shotokan, kickboxing, and more. It's rishotokankarate.com, and the quote of the week is by Edmund Burke. He's a former lawyer, one of the founding fathers. He was a negotiator for us, and he says, "Those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it." So here in Rhode Island, if you don't know history, I need that overhead. And, he was basically warning us, hey, listen, you need to pay attention to history. And here in Rhode Island, we've voted nonstop corrupt criminals here in the state of Rhode Island over and over and over again. So you know history now, Rhode Island. Let's not repeat it. Even if you're a Democrat out there, you can't vote for Gina because she's a Democrat. She's a disgrace to the Democrats. And you know me, I'm independent. I go either way. You know what I mean? As long as you serve the Constitution, I'll promote anybody. I don't care what party you are. But here's the whole issue here. She's not at all a real Democrat. She's a far-left progressive member of the Council on Foreign Relations, speaking the Illuminati, which is an Illuminati front group. It's a globalist group started by David Rockefeller. She's a prominent member of that. And she's run for re-election. She thought she had a meal ticket going into the White House when Hillary is running. She's good friends with the Clintons, and that failed. We all see now that failed. So For those who don't know history, doomed to repeat it. And Rhode Island, you should know history by now. And if you repeat history, that's all on you. You're going to get what you want to ask for. You vote Gina in, she becomes governor again. Hey, you deserve everything you get, plain and simple. And the writings have been on the wall. We've been warning people for years. And, you know, if you can't learn from history, you're going to repeat it, plain and simple. And Rhode Island, the last in the state and everything, first in the country in corruption. Very, very disgusting. A small little state like this. And, yeah, when we get to William Schnoebelen, I guess, at the next segment here, he's going to be calling shortly. His website with oneaccord.org. And this guy's been, like I said, I mean, he's been involved in the occultic world. He's done a lot of stuff that, you know, basically God plucked him out of a very, very evil system. And God uses people, look at the disciples, for example. You know what I mean? One of them was a murderer. They plucked him out. You know what I mean? Like, God uses people for good things that have, you know, basically strayed away, you know, and gotten involved with, you know, bad stuff. And we all done bad stuff when we were younger. And God loves using people like that who has experience that makes a great testimony. And the whole thing is people, every time you mention Illuminati, because of the internet, because of things out there, people scoff at it, laugh at it, and say, hey, oh, it's all just a conspiracy theory. When, if you, again, this goes back to the quote I was saying, if you don't know history, you're doomed to repeat it. This is exactly like this. The Illuminati have a huge part of history. And yes, colleges do talk about them. And they say, well, they ceased to exist in 1785. Well, if that was the truth, you would have George Washington in the 1790s warning the Masonic lodges here in America, hey, be careful of the infiltration of the Illuminati. They infected all of the European lodges that come in here. The president of Harvard University warning about them. John Quincy Adams, the other president, warning about us, the Illuminati, I'm sorry. And they have established a 7-part plan for world dominance, New World Order agenda, which goes along with the Communist Manifesto. Now, everybody knows Karl Marx, so-called philosopher my butt. The Communist Manifesto was written by Karl Marx. It's based off the 7-part plan of the Illuminati. And I'm going to run out real quick here. The 7-part plan of the Illuminati. One is the abolition of all governments. They want to abolish all governments, all private property, all inheritance, patriotism, which you're seeing all this stuff happening now. Abolish the family, they're doing this now, folks. Abolish all religion, they're doing this now. And the creation of a new world order, that's a global one-world government. They are doing everything, like they said, this is written back in the 1700s. And you had the Communist Manifesto written in 1848, saying the same things, the same exact things. They want to abolish all this. They don't want a traditional family. They don't want they want the state to run your family. They want the state to control everything. They want the state to be a religion, and they just want to destroy everything that's wholesome and good, especially what we have today is called the Constitution for the United States of America. And it's all based off the 7-part plan of the Illuminati. And again, you can say what you want, say what you will. Oh, the Illuminati does this. It's a conspiracy theory. No, it's part of history, unfortunately. They're a huge part of history, especially American history, the French Revolution. They're the ones who caused the whole French Revolution. They almost caused the Second American Revolution. They were behind the Civil War here in America. I mean, I could go on. And, yeah, even JFK warned us about these shadow governments and these secret societies, and you know it's so entrenched in history. It's a huge part of history, and yes, this country is founded both on a godly manner and a cultic manner because they knew this establishment of this new land would bring forth their global government, and even back then, you know, and even well before Columbus, which I wanted to do a show too on that. Columbus Day. It's a giant hoax. I mean, we had Europeans here hundreds of years before Columbus was born. Back then, they knew about this land. They called this New Atlantis. They wanted to establish this land, the Knights Templar and all that, because they knew it's a huge part of prophecy that this country needed to be formed, I'm sorry. And so we got a lot to talk about here. So hopefully we could get all this out and, about Halloween and everything else. And hopefully we're going to get William Schnoebelen's comments, too, on the midterms coming up. We got huge elections, not just in our states, but the federal government. We got right versus left again. I mean, it's nonstop, folks. It really is. And all the distractions coming out. I mean, the sex perversion. I'm going to get into this real quick before the break. The perversion is through the roof. Netflix, they got a new show called Big Mouth. It's the second season going on now. And they promote, literally, 11-year-old boys and girls naked, touching themselves, showing their private parts. Okay, it's animation. But anybody else that would even draw something like this, you probably get arrested for pedophilia. And they have 2 little demons and the wizards and all that encourage them to do these things, the sexual perversion. They got a teacher in there that's trying to put them on the moral guideline. They make her out to be the bad girl, make her out to look like the bad person. But this is disgusting, folks. And then you got these people supporting this stuff. Oh, so they're teaching teenagers how to deal with puberty and all that. No, I never got taught that I mean, it's disgusting. They teach everything from bestiality, homosexuality, pedophilia. I mean, it just goes on and on and on and on and on. And they got the male and female Baphomet demons in there. I mean, the symbolism is entrenched in that show. And they got a game that's on Facebook now. Okay. And they got a game that's on Facebook now. It's called Big Mouth. It's the first international game of masturbation. It's disgusting, folks. Pure filth and disgusting, pure Luciferian. And speaking of the Illuminati and such, we got our guests from withOneAccord.org, former Illuminati, former Satanic High Priest, Mr. William Schnoebelen. How you doing?
Real good to be here.
Yeah, thank you for coming back. And we had Mr. Schnoebelen on several times over the years. And what a great man. And he really exposes the dark trenches from the abyss. And thank you for joining us again.
Yeah, sure. It's wonderful.
Okay, so we got a break coming up, so you want to give a quick introduction yourself, then when we get back from the break, we can roll right into this whole Samhain, Halloween origins. And if we got time, I want to get your take on the midterms coming up, too.
Well, yeah, it's basically, I was involved in witchcraft for many years, 16 years or more, and also involved in Satanism and the occult to a very high degree, and now I'm serving Yahushua, Jesus Christ, and trying to get the word out about the dangers of these pagan holidays, and, many other things as well. We're trying to draw people into repentance and, following Him instead of following the dark side. So that's it. We, of course, have a website with One Accord. We have a YouTube channel. We have all kinds of free resources people can download. I think we're over 105 YouTube video teachings now. So, yeah, we're trying to get the word out to as many people as we can.
Amazing. So, all right, so if you want to hang tight right there, we're going to go to a break. And, folks, hold on to your seats. And this is, a couple weeks going into Halloween, and you need to know the dark side of it, because when you learn and find out what it's really about, it's going to make you think twice about going out with your kids. And we'll be right back on the Dan Bidondi Show.
It's supposed to be like that.
Oh, okay. And we are back on the Dan Bidondi Show, your October 16th, 2018 edition of the Dan Bidondi Show right here at 990wbob.com. Check me out at truthradioshow.com for all my official social media sites. And we got our guest, William Schnoebelen, who's a former Satanic High Priest and former Illuminati member with OneAccord.org. And Mr. Schnoebelen, you started with the introduction. So if you want to jump right into, because unfortunately it's a short show here, you know what I mean? So if you want to jump into basically the whole history and origins of Halloween as we know as Samhain.
Yeah, well, the thing people don't understand is they look at it as this kind of fun holiday for the kids and all of that, and candy and whatnot. But, if you go back, like a couple thousand years, you will find out that this is a very dark, satanic, pagan holiday. Because, many people, even in the church, don't understand that witchcraft is real. It's It's a real thing. It's not just something that was made up by Walt Disney or the Brothers Grimm or something. I mean, for thousands of years, there have been witches. There are witches actually in the Bible. I mean, it talks about the witch of Endor in the book of Samuel, 1 Samuel. So, to begin with, we have this fraudulent premise because people assume, okay, there's no such thing as ghosts, there's no such thing as vampires or any of this stuff, no such thing as witches. And so this is just this fun fantasy thing that kids can do. But nothing could be further from the truth. It's a real satanic holiday that goes back thousands of years to ancient, pagan Britain in Northern Europe, where, as you mentioned, it was called Samhain. That was its ancient name in the Celtic language back then. And it was the time that, because they had this cycle. The devil, pardon me, he counterfeits, he copycats the feasts of the Almighty, the feasts of Yahweh that are in the Bible, like the Feast of Passover, the Feast of Pentecost, and so on. They go around the seasons of the year. Like we just, a week or two ago, we went through the Feast of Tabernacles. It's a biblical feast. Well, what he did, the devil rather, is he came up with these counterfeit feasts. And this is like the people were deceived thousands of years ago into believing, okay, the sun god is God. The sun up in the sky is a god. And the earth is a goddess. And, the moon is somehow also a goddess. And, so anyway, what they came up with was the idea, okay, in the northern hemisphere, the sun appears to be getting weaker now. The days are getting shorter. It appears that the sun is moving further and further away. And ultimately, it appears to, quote-unquote, die around the time of Yule, which is December 22nd, 23rd, the winter solstice. And so what they came up with is this idea that on Samhain, on Halloween night, October 31st, that the sun god would start dying. And then he would be reborn on Yule. And because that's when the sun starts getting stronger again, the days start getting longer, etc. So, but you see, unlike the true and living God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob that's in the Bible, these false gods, they need blood. They need terror. They need human lives to give them power, kind of like recharging their batteries, so to speak. And so, in ancient times, it was believed that it was necessary to have human sacrifices, especially of children or virgins or something like that, innocent blood, quote unquote, to empower the sun god as he was going into this dark season, so that by the time he got to Yule, he could be reborn. So this whole idea of trick or treat, okay, is rooted in the idea that in ancient times, in Northern Europe, where, England and Northern Europe, that's where the nights get really pretty short. Like one season we were over ministering in Scotland right about the time of, right after Christmas. And let me tell you, it gets dark there earlier. It's kind of like you're moving more in the direction of Alaska, where you have the whole thing where you have night for hours and hours and hours, So anyway, because of that, they really feared this, and they would send out their pagan priests, and they would go door to door. They would demand a sacrifice, either, an animal or even your firstborn child, to be offered to the god of death, who was called Saman, who is the god of Samhain. And if you didn't do that, then they would burn your house down, or they would kill your entire family, or, do other unspeakable atrocities to you. And now down through the centuries, today, we have this coming as all little kids go door to door and get candy. And if you don't give them candy, they'll throw toilet paper all over your trees and bushes, or they'll put soap on your windows or something. So obviously, even though it's apparently more harmless now, you're still walking in the footsteps of these evil, satanic, pagan people. And the Bible tells us that we are not to learn the ways of the heathen. That's in Jeremiah. We're not supposed to walk with them. We're not supposed to deal with them. And these are heathen festivals. Now, the other thing people need to understand, which is much more critical, is the fact that there are still Satanists and witches that are celebrating these holidays to this very day in America and Canada and Europe and other parts of the world as well, where, you know, people are being sacrificed, children are being sacrificed on the night of October 31st, because there's still people out there that believe they need to feed blood to their God. They believe they need to pump the life, because you see, you know, the Bible says right in Leviticus that the blood is the life. And that's true, obviously. But what they believe, these pagans, and especially Satanists now, because mind you, I'm not saying that white witches are killing people. I'm not saying that. But beyond the white witches are those dark witches, the black magicians and the Satanists, and they are killing people. And the only difference, let me tell you, Dan, the only difference between the white witches, and these are not racial words, by the way, but white witches are dealing with the same powers that Satanists are dealing with. The white witches just are deceived more. They don't know what they're dealing with. They think they're dealing with airy, fairy goddesses and cute little fairy people and stuff like that, and they're not. They've been deceived. And just because that's what they believe doesn't mean that's true. You know, what they're dealing with, white witches, is still demonic. It just has got this nice little sweet mask over it, whereas the Satanists know what they're dealing with.
Yeah.
So they will, for example, go out and they will either, you know, steal children or pick up teenagers off the street or whatever, and they will take them and they will groom them and they will sacrifice if they're virgins, which is highly prized, they will sacrifice their virginity and slay them on the altars of Baal on the night of October 31st, because Baal is one of the most ancient archetypes of Lucifer, of Satan.
If you want to hold it right there, because I've got a break coming up in about 30 seconds. So if you want to stick right there. But when we get back, he's going to finish that. And also, if you want to know where the bonfire came from, bobbing for apples, folks, this is all rituals that have been going on for thousands of years. But we'll be right back on the Dan Bidondi Show with our guest, William Schnoebelen. All right, folks, welcome back to our second half of the Dan Bidondi Show. And before we get on with our guests, visit his website with oneaccord.org. He's an author. He's got tons of books and videos. I mean, one of my favorites is Blood on the Doorpost. It's about spiritual warfare. He's got books on his website, too, prayers and all kinds of good stuff that expose all of this and more. I could have this guy on for 6 hours at least, and he wouldn't even touch half the stuff that would just blow your mind away completely. Especially for you Christians out there, you should know, besides knowing Jesus, you should know spiritual warfare, which a lot of churches today lack teaching, unfortunately. But we left off how Mr. William Schnoebelen here was talking about how they took the children to sacrifice them, basically took their innocence by taking their virginity away, then slayed them before Baal, B-A-A-L. And so, Mr. Schnoebelen, if you want to continue.
Yeah, and I guess where I was going with that is this is not just an historical thing. This is going on today. And, you know, we always, every year, we come around to this horrible time when the spiritual warfare intensifies, and we always try to warn people that, you know, if you have children, keep a close eye on them during this season. Because I don't care if they're adolescents or if they're children or even if they're toddlers, you know, keep an eye on them. Because, you know, like, for example, a lot of people don't know this, but just a couple of years, the last year we have solid statistics on was 2015, and over 440,000 children went missing from America, United States of America. Over 400,000 went missing. And of them, now of course a lot of them were like issues of a kid wandering off and they found him and all of that, or like with divorced parents, maybe one parent took the other else's parent, you know, that kind of child, you know. But 42,000 of those children went missing in 2015, never returned. They're just lost.
Wow.
And I would say that's huge. I mean, that's almost the size of the city that I live in. Missing children of all ages, you know, from toddlers all the way up to, you know, the age of, I would imagine, 18 or 20. So, you know, and many of those kids are taken by these groups and, you know, locked up and tortured. And because, you see, there's a belief in these satanic groups that you get life out of the blood. But if you like frighten and terrify the individual, especially a child, because it's much easier to frighten a child than an adult. And if you scare them and frighten them and get the adrenaline going in their blood and they're just full of abject terror, and if you torture them or whatever, then when you finally kill them, the life force that's released is so much more powerful to feed themselves and their dark god. So this is a horrible thing to happen to anybody, but especially a child. And, you know, we understand now that this has been going on for thousands of years, and it's just starting to come out. There's these pedophile rings, these people that you know, steal children, that kidnap, you know, even adolescents, and take them and sexually molest them and then murder them. And they devour them. Some of these people are cannibals. And, you know, because I don't know if you know this, but the origin of the word cannibal is a corruption of the word Kohen Baal, which means priest of Baal.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, they just like, you know, in some churches, you know, they will have communion, and they believe they're symbolically, you know, consuming the body and blood of Christ. Well, in these satanic churches, they will consume literally the body and blood of children or of a virgin or whatever, you know, and they believe this is a satanic sacrament. So this is horrible stuff, and what I want parents to understand, because you usually won't hear about this in churches, but this is the time over the next, especially like, let's say a week or so before Halloween, kind of really lock down your kids to a degree, as much as possible. Because, I mean, I realize that, you know, they're probably going to go to school and things like that, but warn them, keep a close eye on them, and pray for them. Pray for them especially hard. Now, again, on our website, withoneaccord.org, we have a prayer for parents to pray over their children, because some parents, even though they have the mantle and they have the authority to protect their children given to them by heaven, when they gave birth to this child together, they were endowed by heaven with a mantle of authority to pray over that child. But a lot of parents don't understand this. They don't know that they have the right to go before the throne and to boldly counterplea for their child against the devil, because, of course, no child is perfect. You know, all children do dumb little things, and they may, in their older years, commit sins and stuff. But you can counterplead and pray protection over that child, or however many you have. So we exhort parents to really be praying for their children, to encourage the children themselves, if they're old enough, to begin to understand spiritual warfare, that they need to put the armor on every day, you know, like out of Ephesians 6 and other places in the Scripture. And again, we have all teachings on all of this. We have YouTube videos on the armor and the parts that most churches don't even know exist, because most churches stop after Ephesians 6:12. You know, they don't realize there's literally a dozen or more other pieces of the armor of Yahweh that they can implement, that they can use to protect themselves and their families, and teach their children how to do it. Because let me tell you, children, if they're born again, they have powerful spiritual authority if they're taught how to use it. And we years ago, we had a case of a little girl who was going to be, you know, some people came up in a van and they grabbed her and they were going to carry her off, and this was in the season near Halloween, and she rebuked them in the name of Christ, and they let go of her like they were scalded, and she was able to run back to her house and get inside. So, you know, if you teach your children these things, you know, it's important to teach them other stuff too, like what's inappropriate touching and all this kind of stuff that's talked about generally. But, you know, if you're hearing this as a Christian parent, you need to teach your children, you know, hey, obviously stay away from strangers and all of that stuff. But also, you need to teach them how to pray, how to rebuke the enemy in the name of Yahushua, in the name of Jesus Christ. You know, and also, you know, the big one we teach people to do also is, and again, it's right out of the scriptures, is if you really think these are some big, scary dudes that are coming after you, either if they're spiritual beings or if they're physical, you know, creeps, you know, perverts or Satanists or whatever, say, Yahweh rebuke thee. Because that's what the Archangel Michael said in Jude against the devil when they were disputing over the body of Moses. I think that's Jude chapter 1, verse 9. So you say, Yahweh rebuke thee. And that will even knock off a fallen angel.
Wow.
You know, because sometimes fallen angels are trying to get at us.
Well, it shows you how powerful just, you know, the faith in, you know, reciting his name like that and that kind of, like a weapon of spiritual warfare that, I mean, could save your life literally. And you're speaking also about these little traditions of Halloween and all that. Do you want to explain, like, basically, because we know everybody today, they go to parties and they have a bucket full of water and everybody goes bobbing for apples and they have the bonfire thing. And if you want to quickly run over those two traditions that actually rituals.
Yeah, well, you know, of course, what would happen is, see, all of these sun god type deities, okay, they're fire gods, you know, because the sun, you know, is obviously a fiery thing up there. And they would, you know, they would believe that if they, as the sun grows darker, they would do what they would light bale fires, was the word they would use. Today we call them bonfires. And they would create these big, enormous fires on the hilltops. This is in, you know, like ancient Britain or Ireland. And they would dance around them and try to, you know, invoke the power of the fire gods to keep the sun from dying, because they literally thought the sun was dying. And of course, they would also, depending on the community and what their traditions were, they would actually throw infants into the fire, which sounds just absolutely horrible, of course. You know, throw a live baby into this huge fire. But it was, you know, that's what the Bible's talking about when it says to pass your children through the fires of Moloch, because Moloch is another name for Baal, and he was worshipped by infant sacrifice. So, you know, anyway, that's the story behind the Baal fires, or the bonfires. And, you know, and especially to be lighting it on these high satanic holidays like Beltane, which is in the summer, or pardon me, the late spring, May 1st, or, you know, Halloween, you know, Samhain, which is October 31st. The bobbing for apples, that was originally, people were bobbing, they would like have mead, which is, you know, like a traditional Celtic alcohol beverage made, it's like a wine that's made from honey, and they would bob for infant skulls in this big vat of warm mead, you know, which is just absolutely disgusting, you know, but that's what the bobbing for apples thing originated with. So, you know, these are horrible, and almost everything you associate with witchcraft, with Halloween is pagan idolatry, you know, whether it's black cats or whether it's jack-o'-lanterns or whether it's witches or, you know, vampires. All of these things are genuine occult meanings. Now, I don't mean that black cats are evil. I'm not saying that, but I am saying that you know, in folklore and whatever, you know, it is understood that witches know how to bewitch a cat and turn it into a familiar, you know, like they'll like put a demon in the cat so the cat will obey them. But, you know, I'm not trying to, you know, say cats are evil. I'm just saying that it's become an icon of Halloween to have a scary looking black cat. There's a reason for it.
Yeah, no, yeah, I mean, you can see it, like, you know, the movies. My voice is shot, so forgive me, folks. I'm glad Bill's on, because I don't think I could have done this whole show because my voice is completely shot today. But yeah, you can see it all over the place. I mean, like the symbolism from, you know, the thing is, Hollywood too. They know the stuff. They would never tell you that. That's why they come out with these movies that have incantations within the movies that can literally bring demons to your home or something. You know, crazy stuff, and stuff that you could not possibly believe in. And
right, way back, ever since the movie The Exorcist came out, which is, as far as I know, the first time they did this, that movie was so evil. And I'm old enough that I saw it in the theater, and it literally totally freaked me out, even though I was a witch when I went to see it,
Yeah.
believe it or not. And anyway, they put evil stuff in that movie. They put incantations in it. They put subliminal voices in it and subliminal images in it. And William Friedkin, who was the director, he admitted some of that, publicly. And that's why so many people would go to the movie and they'd faint, or they'd have epileptic fits, or they'd start vomiting and all kinds of horrible stuff. Well, ever since that, Hollywood has increasingly put more and more evil stuff into the movies. Today, these films are so horrible. I mean, some of them, I just saw some post today, I guess, that this creepy Netflix outfit, which is getting creepier by the minute, they've done a movie about the haunting of Hill House or something like that. Now it's some kind of a series that they have. And I guess it's just appallingly scary. I guess people are fainting and have fits, and I don't know if this is true or if it's just marketing. But I guess it's like the scariest thing ever, and that's saying a lot considering what Hollywood has turned out. And see, here's the thing. Let me just say this a minute. The whole fun, quote unquote, element of Halloween is the idea you can get scared. But why is that fun? The Bible tells us that we are not to have a spirit of fear. And I would submit to you that when you let, especially a child, see a scary movie or go like into one of these, fake haunted houses that some charitable organizations like the Boy Scouts or even churches put on in this season, and that kid gets scared, when that happens, that opens the doorway for that child for the spirit of fear. And that's not a good thing, because we're not supposed to walk in fear. The only thing we're supposed to fear is we're supposed to have awe and reverence for the Almighty King of the universe. We're not supposed to have fear other than that. We should be fearless. And yet, I don't know how much time I have, but I had a thing happen to me when I was probably 9 or 10 years old.
You'll be about 30 seconds to the last break.
Well, I'll tell you about it when I come back from the break.
Okay.
Because it's an illustration of how dangerous it is to expose even, prepubescent children to frightening things.
Yeah, it's this is real stuff, folks. And I mean, if you really look all over the place, I mean, you see people's comments on certain movies, like the Ouija board movie, and the Netflix thing. They got I think the Saint Clarita Diet. It's about a cannibalist woman. The wife there, the husband kills people. Then there's this pedophilia show called Big Mouth. One called Lucifer. There's another show that has Netflix is pure abominational, disgusting, satanic stuff, and it's not a coincidence that funded by intelligence agencies. But we'll be right back on the Dan Bidondi Show with our guest William Schnoebelen. Okay, welcome back to the last segment, and what a great show this is. And this is stuff that parents out there really need to take under consideration, because I know a lot of people take it as a joke. It's far from a joke. Regardless what you think and believe, tens of thousands of kids turn up missing a year just in the United States alone. It's part of sex trafficking rings, SRA, sexual ritual abuse, the whole 9 yards. And our guest here, Mr. William Schnoebelen from WithOneAccord.org Ministries. And Mr. Schnoebelen, please continue where you left off.
Well, I was just trying to illustrate the dangers of letting children be exposed to terrifying things. And mind you, this is relatively, mild by today's standards, but when I was probably 9 or 10 years old, I couldn't tell you exactly, I was always watching Disneyland, and he would put up things of his movies, Walt Disney would, it was a big marketing thing, and he did this little segment, and I and my mother were watching it, and it was after dark, and it was a thing about Darby O'Gill and the Little People, which is this relatively innocuous, charming little musical about the wee leprechaun people, And anyway, they showed this scene of this banshee wailing in the night. Now, mind you, I was watching this on a little black and white TV. I mean, because, you know, back then we didn't have these big, huge televisions. This was like probably an 18-inch television in black and white. And it scared the living daylights out of me. And I was, you know, I was during puberty, you know, and I was so terrified I wouldn't go anywhere for the next day or two after dark without my mother or father. She had to sit there and watch me. This sounds creepy now, I know, but you know how children are. You know, take a bath because I was afraid of being in the bathtub alone.
Yeah.
She wasn't in the bathtub with me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, and, you know, she had to sit up with me in the bedroom at night, and I would have horrible nightmares. And I think that was one of the things that a few years later opened up a doorway into my involvement with witchcraft and the occult, was that I was terrified. And the whole movie, this Dario Gil movie, is steeped in witchcraft. I mean, this whole Celtic witchcraft thing, you know, it's got the whole thing about the death coach and banshees and poodles. Because, you know, Irish folklore is just steeped in all this stuff. And I can say this because I'm part Irish, you know. But anyway, so that just shows you how dangerous it is for even an older child to be exposed to this kind of terror. And, of course, today we have cable TV, which often is not monitored, and these children will watch glorious big screen TV, you know, color with all big sound systems and whatnot in many homes, and they will show these terrifying movies, and if the parents aren't keeping an eye on it, these kids are watching it, and it just gets into their little souls and plants a spirit of fear in them.
Yeah, you just... it's entrenched. I mean, all over the TV, they got it in the Disney Channel and everything else. All these little children shows and all that. I mean, it's really scary. It really is when you really think about it.
Yeah, because it's like there's no limit anymore. You know, I mean, like you say, it used to be people thought, oh, Disney is wonderful. Well, we've been warning people about Disney for almost a quarter century because, no, he's not, well, he's dead, but I mean, the company is not wonderful. It's creepy. It's full of homosexuals. It's full of perverts. It's full of occultists and sorcerers and Freemasons. And, you know, I would never let my kid near Disneyland if I had a small child or even a child that was older. It's just a creepy place.
Oh, it is. And they, you know, the thing is, most parents, oh, it's Disney, so they're not going to pay attention. So they let the kids watch all the smut. I mean, like, the shows are full, make it look cool to be a vampire, get involved with the occult. One show is a girl, she's promiscuous. Every show she's got a different boyfriend. I mean, it's so barbaric. And in the cartoons, the subliminal, I mean, like, the occultism shoved down the kids' throats. It's insane.
Yeah, it really is, you know. And, you know, some people just throw their TV out the window.
Yeah.
My parents, you know, because there's so little that's worth watching, and or you can just keep the TV and unplug the cable and just get Christian, you know, videos and Christian movies and faith and other things like that. But you know, it's still, you know, it's still a dangerous culture out there.
Oh, it is. And we got a few minutes left here, but if you want to switch gears here, and if anything else you want to add about Halloween, but I just wanted to get your take, too, on this midterm coming up, and what's your thoughts?
Yeah. Well, just briefly, I mean, I think this is the most important midterm elections in my lifetime.
Yeah,
you know, I mean,
agreed.
There's so much at stake, and on the other hand, there is so much going wrong in our culture. This is a watershed, and that's why we did a video and a program on Omega Man, which people can download. I think it was from Saturday night, and you know, we're just exhorting people to pray and do spiritual warfare, because what is happening is the Trump administration has both put the whole abortion industry in jeopardy, and they're scared to death of that, you know, because of that's why they came after this Kavanaugh, this poor guy with, like, you know, everything but, you know, hatchets and machetes. And, you know, also the whole thing of pedophilia, the fact that the Trump administration has been putting so many pedophiles, you know, so many perverts and child traffickers in jail. They've done more in the 2 years that the Trump has been in office than the whole rest of the last decade in terms
Absolutely.
of catching these perverts. So, you know, the progressive left and the Satanists, which are almost the same thing, don't want that because those are what powers, if you will, the Satanic Brotherhood, is abortion and pedophilia. So, you know, I would really exhort you to get out and vote if you care about conservative values, and more importantly, if you care about biblical values.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
The country is barely teetering on the brink of absolute chaos, and only a return to biblical values, which by and large are the same as conservative values. I mean, I'm not even a registered Republican, I'm an independent. But when you look at the way the Democratic Party has metastasized in the last generation, it's just become totally bizarre. So, you know, we need to, you know, it's like everything that the Almighty loves, Democrats hate. You know, that not most Democrats, but I mean a large percentage of these leadership people. I mean, I know there's a lot of just rank and file Democrat people that are probably very nice folk, you know, but they got to realize this is not their parents' Democratic Party anymore.
Well, they have that
by left-wing loons.
Hashtag walk away. A lot of good Democrats are getting away from that. And also this Kanye West, me and you know, basically behind the scenes of that with the Illuminati and everything, him coming out of all that garbage and now basically coming into the light, he's being viciously attacked now. And what are your thoughts on Kanye West?
Well, I've never been a follower of him. I know he sure seems like he was some kind of an Illuminati mind control guy, and maybe somebody prayed for him and the programming snapped, because it can. Even sometimes the programming can fall apart without someone doing deliverance on the guy. But, you know, I think, you know, he's being a strong voice for independent thinking among the African-American community, and I think it's great.
Yeah.
You know, and, you know, I don't know fully what his motives are, but I think, you know, you know, because basically the Democratic Party for a long time has regarded, you know, blacks as their plantation. That as long as they give them free stuff, they can come out and vote for them. And for the first time, you know, since Trump got in, I mean, the black unemployment rate is rising. You know, black communities are doing better, and because of that, all these race-baiting demagogues like Al Sharpton and, you know, some of these other people, they're freaking out because a lot of
failing.
blacks are realizing, hey, we can make it on our own. We don't need to have all this welfare and food stamps and
absolutely,
you know, whatever you call it. You know, I guess they're called something different now. But anyway, you know,
well, you're right.
Realizing that America can be a great place for an African American family too. And that's what we want to do. You know, we don't want everybody depending on the government. We want people depending upon themselves and upon God for what they need in life.
Absolutely, and we got I hope more blacks wake up, because they are. I mean, it's amazing, a good thing. It's bringing unity too. But if you want to plug your website one more time, and we're going to definitely have back on soon.
Sure. Yeah, it's whisperaccord.org. We have tons of free material people can download. We have a YouTube channel, all of my books, and we've also got dozens of DVDs that people can buy. So, you know, we invite you to come and check us out. We've got a lot of valuable information for people.
Oh, great. And thank you again, Mr. Schnoebelen. God bless you and shalom. And, you're one of my favorite guests, so I want to try to have you on more often.
Always a pleasure. Thank you.
All right, take care.
Shalom.
You too. And again, with oneaccord.org, Mr. William Schnoebelen, check his stuff out. A lot of good stuff. But if you want to check me out, go to truthradioshow.com. I'm going to plug his stuff as well. And thanks for listening to the Dan Bidondi Show right here on 990WBOB.com. Say your prayers for these midterms, folks, because we need God to intervene and help save this country. God bless. Declaring war on the New World Order. TruthRadioShow.com.